At the beginning of the story, we see a special FBI agent named John who is currently in a museum in Rome. John had received intel that a famous thief named Nolan Booth had planned to steal from the museum. He wanted to steal a priceless golden egg from there. Despite John repeatedly warning the museum's director, the director didn't listen to him. He had complete faith in the museum's security. But John continued his inspection. He made a revelation that shocked everyone. While checking the egg, John realized that the egg was fake. The real egg had already been stolen earlier. To turn his suspicion into certainty, John poured soda over it. Immediately, the museum alarm went off. People began running everywhere. Nolan was also present there. The moment John saw him, he knew he was the thief. John started chasing after him. But Nolan used his incredible parkour skills to evade all the guards. John chased Nolan with all his might and even managed to stop him for a moment. But the thief was too clever. He misled John and escaped. Nolan made a very risky jump, leaping into a pipe and sliding through it to the other side. But John still didn't give up. He entered a posh area and continued chasing Nolan through Rome's historic streets. Despite the agent's best efforts, Nolan skillfully managed to get away. About 56 hours later, Nolan was celebrating his victory. In one hand, he had a drink, and in the other, the egg. He thought he was the smartest thief in the world. But that feeling lasted only a few moments. John was already at Nolan's hideout with his entire team. There was no escape. So John arrested him. But Nolan still couldn't understand how they found him. John told him that a thief named Bishop had revealed his location. Bishop was the world's #1 most wanted thief, and Nolan was #2, trying to take Bishop's place for a long time. Anyway, the stolen egg was secured to be taken into Interpol's custody. But during the operation, a twist occurred. An undercover agent replaced the real egg with a fake one, and that agent was none other than Bishop herself. The next day, things got worse for John. He was accused of helping thieves because evidence was found against him, a Swiss account in his name with $8 million deposited in it. John's reputation, which he had built over so many years, was ruined. He was arrested and thrown into a maximum security prison in the snowy mountains of Russia. His cellmate there would be Nolan. With no other option, the two had to shake hands. In the cold Russian prison, Nolan slowly began to understand the whole situation. The real mastermind behind their capture was none other than Bishop, a clever thief no one had ever caught. Nolan explained that it wasn't just about the egg. The egg was the key to a massive reward. An Egyptian billionaire had promised that whoever brought him all 3 eggs before his daughter's wedding would receive a reward of $300 million. 2 eggs had already been found, but the third was still a mystery. Nolan said that was why he was searching for the 3 eggs. But John's arrival ruined his plan for no reason. Now it was clear that Bishop was also after the eggs. She had trapped them both so no one could steal her egg or find her. While they were talking, guards came and took them to the prison warden. They were shocked to see Bishop herself waiting for them there. Without any fear, she stood dressed as a prison officer. Her style was something else. She offered Nolan a deal. She already had 1 egg. She had planned to steal the second. And if he helped her find the third, she would give him 10% of the reward. Nolan mocked her offer and refused immediately. Bishop didn't care about his refusal and quietly left. But before leaving, she said one thing: "I will always be 2 steps ahead of you. Got it?" John was now angry at Nolan. He had blown such a good chance to escape from prison. But still, he told Nolan that if they worked together, escaping this prison would be a bit easier. They couldn't rot in here for life. John's plan was to stop Bishop and take back the eggs so he could restore his lost reputation. Nolan hesitated at first, but later agreed. He thought if Bishop got caught and he escaped from prison, he would become the world's most wanted thief. Now the two began planning their dangerous prison escape. The first part of their plan was in the dining hall, where Nolan made a calculated move. He shouted loudly that John was an undercover FBI agent. Hearing this, a big and dangerous inmate immediately got angry, and a fight broke out between him and John. chaos erupted in the prison, and guards rushed in to calm things down. Nolan and John were dragged outside. John angrily warned Nolan not to pull a stunt like that again, but Nolan said it was part of his plan. During the chaos, he had stolen a key card, which was essential for their escape. Seeing the key card, John calmed down a bit. Later during their conversation, Nolan revealed that his father was also a police officer who never praised him. Nolan had always wanted his attention. So he thought, who do the police pay the most attention to? Thieves. So he became a thief. This conversation brought them closer. Now together, they worked on the next step of their plan. First, they needed to make a temporary bomb, for which they required soap, toothpaste, and nitric acid. Their carefully executed blast created chaos in the prison. The guards got distracted, giving the two their chance to escape. The next step was to slowly loosen a stone in the prison wall, giving them a way out from there. When the explosion caused chaos in the prison, the two quickly began climbing the high prison walls together. There were many obstacles along the way. Nolan slipped off an icy ledge and was about to fall, but John caught him just in time. Somehow they made it to a helicopter landing pad. The guard stationed there was busy on his phone, enjoying Russian music while looking at a photo of Putin, so he didn't even notice that Nolan and John had arrived. John quickly knocked the guard unconscious, after which Nolan ran to climb into the helicopter. Meanwhile, John was fighting off a pursuing guard. Then one of the guards fired a rocket launcher. The rocket hit the bridge where John was, but he somehow managed to escape to the other side. However, the massive blast shook the helicopter. Nolan could have taken off alone, but he didn't want to leave John behind. Using the helicopter's mounted minigun, he unleashed heavy fire on the guards to push them back. John took advantage of the moment and leapt onto the helicopter. Just then, another missile appeared in the air. Thinking quickly, John opened the helicopter's other door, letting the missile pass straight through and hit a mountain on the other side. After that, they immediately flew away in the helicopter. Far away, Bishop was calmly watching all the chaos unfold. From someone else's computer in London, she sent a secret message to Interpol, informing them that John and Nolan had escaped from prison. Smiling at her own cunning, she began preparing her next move. Meanwhile, Nolan and John met one of Nolan's old trusted friends, Tambwe, who had brought them a new plane. Nolan's sources had located the second egg. It was with a famous arms smuggler in Spain, and they now had the location of his mansion. The plan was simple: break into his house and steal the egg, but it was extremely risky. His mansion was nothing less than a fortress. Armed guards were stationed at short intervals. Around 90 cameras covered every corner of the house. The egg was kept in a special vault made of half-meter-thick titanium. Despite all this, to pull off the heist, they prepared a deepfake video. Along with that, they would use a clever trick to get hold of the dealer's phone and retrieve his password. Then we see the arms smuggler in Spain, hosting a grand party at his house. John dressed up as a wealthy guest to blend into the party, while Nolan disguised himself as a waiter serving drinks. John noticed that Bishop was also at the party. Their eyes met, and Bishop gave a faint smile before walking away. Before John could do anything, the arms smuggler took the stage and began giving a long speech. John used the opportunity to quietly slip behind and steal the dealer's phone. What they didn't know was that Interpol officer Agent Das was also quietly observing everything at the party. Nolan pretended to spill wine on John, ruining his clothes. Using this as an excuse to go clean up, they both slipped away to the washroom. In the bathroom, they hacked the dealer's phone and retrieved the password. They had a 45-second window during the guard shift change. Using this time, they quickly reached the vault. In front of them was a thick titanium door, but their deepfake trick worked, and the vault opened. Inside, they saw many rare and valuable artifacts, and among them was the second golden egg. They were both very happy, but suddenly the alarm went off. Security guards were instantly activated, and soon Agent Das was standing with a gun pointed at them. John quickly knocked her gun aside and slammed the vault door shut to buy some time, but they weren't alone in there. Bishop emerged from the shadows and said she had already gotten to the vault first. Now on one side was Bishop and on the other John and Nolan. A fierce fight broke out between the two sides. In that small space, the three fought intensely. John and Nolan tried to team up against Bishop, but she used her agility and cunning to completely overpower them. Just then, the arms dealer entered the vault and revealed that he was working with Bishop all along. Hearing this left John and Nolan stunned. Soon, they were both captured. The next day, when they regained consciousness, they found themselves tied up in the basement of the arms smuggler's house. The dealer interrogated them, demanding the location of the third egg. Nolan immediately started making up a story claiming the egg was hidden somewhere in Egypt. This was a complete lie, but it managed to calm the dealer for a while. Then Bishop tricked the dealer by offering him champagne that she had secretly spiked with a sedative. In the spirit of celebration, the dealer drank it. Soon, he collapsed, struggling to breathe. Bishop, smiling, walked out of the vault with the second egg in hand, leaving John and Nolan tied up to face the consequences of her actions. After some time, the arms smuggler regained consciousness. His vision was still blurry, and in anger, he started firing at the two of them. One of those bullets accidentally cut the ropes binding John and Nolan. Now free, the two quietly slipped away from there. But as soon as they got out, they found themselves right in the middle of a bull ring. The blazing sunlight made their eyes squint for a moment. Then, they saw a huge crowd around them clapping and cheering loudly. Suddenly, a massive, furious bull charged straight toward them. Its horns gleamed under the sun. Panicking, Nolan waved his arm, which ended up looking like a matador's taunt. The crowd thought he was about to fight the bull and went wild with excitement. John barely dodged the bull with a flip, while Nolan climbed up the wall of the bull ring, exhausted. Somehow they managed to slip through the crowd and vanish into the winding streets. That night, when everything had calmed down, John finally opened up for the first time. Hesitant at first, he revealed that his father had been a famous thief. But when John was young, his father left him. Because of that betrayal, John decided to join the police force, now hating thieves like his father with a passion. Nolan listened carefully, feeling his pain. Finally, Nolan shared a secret of his own. He knew where the third Cleopatra egg was. After World War II, a German officer had fled to Argentina with a suitcase full of treasure and a watch. Inside that watch was a hidden code that revealed the egg's location. Years later, Nolan's father, who was an expert treasure hunter, found the watch. Following all the clues, he reached an old Nazi bunker hidden deep in the jungles of Argentina. Nolan had been piecing this story together for years, and now, at last, he had the final piece. Ready for the journey, John and Nolan set out into the jungle. After trekking through dense forests and dangerous swamps, they finally reached the old bunker. As soon as they stepped inside, the lights flickered on. It felt like time had frozen. Beyond a heavy steel door, they found a long-lost treasure, shining relics from the Nazi era, and among them, the third Cleopatra egg, glowing softly in the dim light. But their happiness didn't last long. Just as they were about to take the egg, Bishop walked in. Her calm face made it clear she had been following them from the very beginning. Moments later, Agent Das arrived with her elite SWAT team. The small bunker instantly turned into a battlefield. Gunfire echoed from all sides, bullets ricocheting off the steel walls. Everyone had the same goal: claim the treasure. In the chaos, John, Nolan, and Bishop slipped into an old vehicle and sped away. But suddenly, the road ended, straight off a massive waterfall and into the river below. Nolan quickly resurfaced with the egg still in his hand. But when he realized John was missing, he dropped the egg without a second thought and dove back in to search for his friend. Only, John was already out of the water. And then the shocking truth came out. John had been deceiving everyone. From the very start, he and Bishop had been a team. Not only did they not hate each other, they were in love. The entire act had been a setup to use Nolan to get the location of the third egg. They had played their roles so perfectly that Nolan never suspected a thing. They tied Nolan to a tree and vanished into the jungle with all three eggs, leaving him to watch helplessly. The betrayal cut deep, but Nolan made a promise. He would beat them one day. Meanwhile, in Egypt, a grand celebration was underway in a lavishly decorated palace. The daughter of a wealthy Egyptian billionaire was getting married, and the most awaited moment was about to arrive. The billionaire would present all 3 Cleopatra eggs to the world. The eggs were brought out with great pomp, but in the middle of the celebration, Agent Das and her Interpol team stormed in. Kicking the doors open, they took control of the situation in seconds. The music stopped, replaced by screams and chaos. Guests panicked as the soldiers seized all 3 eggs. The billionaire, along with his entire crew, was handcuffed and taken away in disgrace. Even the bride wasn't spared. She too was escorted out. Watching all of this from a hidden spot, John and Bishop smiled faintly before quietly slipping away. They already had their 300 million, so nothing else mattered to them. About 6 months later, on the calm seas of Italy, John and Bishop were enjoying luxury on a lavish yacht. But suddenly, Nolan made a surprise entrance, climbing onto the deck with a grin. Calmly, he pulled out a tablet and revealed his masterstroke. He had tracked down all their bank accounts and handed the details over to Interpol. John and Bishop were stunned. All their accounts had been frozen. They were left with nothing. Nolan smirked. "Guess I conned the con artists." But he didn't rub it in for too long. Instead, he said he had an incredible idea for a heist. But he couldn't pull it off alone. He needed their help. John immediately refused, saying they weren't going to work with him. But Bishop realized the truth. They were broke, and joining Nolan was their only option. Where this heist will take place? Well, that's for the next movie. When it comes out, we'll make a video about it. Until then, subscribe to the channel. We'll meet you in next crazy movie explain video.